Welcome to Streams of Income, hosted by best-selling author and entrepreneur Dr. David Powers, where we discuss streams of income, passive income, residual income, and even why there are dinosaurs and zombies in this intro. Fasten your seatbelts and get ready to dive in.
Hey everybody, welcome to the Streams of Income podcast, and we are here with Bryan Fink, Mr. Scattered, and I'm going to let him do a little intro for himself, and so we get a chance to meet him, and we're going to dig into what he does and some interesting things. And so he and I actually met in Membership Freedom. There's been quite a few people on the podcast from that group, mainly just because there's so many amazing people in that group. And so Bryan, I tell you what, go ahead. And before I let you do an intro, I am wearing my Scattered t-shirt for everybody that's watching the video version. And Bryan's wearing his as well. He sent this to me a few weeks ago, and I wanted to be sure I wore it for the podcast to put a little advertisement out there for him. All right, so Bryan, go ahead and kick it off. Tell us who you are and what you do.
Sure. Well, first of all, Dr. Dave, thanks for having me on. I am very much appreciative of it. I'm looking forward to having a good conversation with you. So in a nutshell, I am just a guy who wants to be helpful. I know that sounds like a cliche. It sounds like a silly statement, but I'm someone who throughout my life has been very scattered. I had ADHD my entire life when I was growing up. Going through school, I always had a bit of difficulty. I knew I had the intelligence. A lot of the times the issues were focus. The issues were being able to stay on task. And there were some emotional issues in there as well. But as I got older and I learned more how to lean into it, I started utilizing that in ways to try to be helpful to others. So I worked for a few years as what's called a peer support specialist, and I was helping people in the mental health community. Maybe they had just come out of a hospital. They had just come out of a group home. They were trying to get acclimated back to their life. And I found a lot of great joy in that. But as I continued to do that, the reality of it became that there's always red tape. There's always bureaucracy. There's things that you have to handle, and there's ways you have to go about it. But I knew what had worked for me. I knew what I've done in the past and what I continue to do to this day. So my cousin, who used to be a member of Membership Freedom, she introduced me to Vincent. I also met Vincent through another Membership Freedom member, Mr. John Shookman. And so Vincent and I started talking about it. We started figuring out ways that I could take what my goal was and what I was hoping to achieve and spread that message out in a wider way and a wider variety. Yeah. So since that time, I have launched a multi-platform, multimedia approach called Scattered. And what I've done is I'm trying to raise awareness for those who have ADHD or mental health concerns, trying to first of all normalize that and let them know that it does not make them different. It doesn't make them any less capable, any less of a person. And it can be a superpower. So finding how to take these things and apply them to your life to reach your potential and fulfill your goals is what I'm hoping to achieve. And we're still in the early stages. We're still in the genesis of it. But that's what the long-term goal is. It's normalizing, it's accepting, finding ourselves.
Okay. Yeah. And so a membership site, is that your going to be the primary income source? Or do you have, what all do you have set up for income sources with that?
So mainly, yes, it'll be a membership program. We're building right now. We're about to kick off our beta group, which is going to be a small closed group. We're going to run it for 2 months. We are going to try out what I have initially, which is some literature, some exercises, things like grounding techniques, things like finding different calming sources, focus attempts, task writing. Then what we're going to do is we're going to meet once a week in a group. I'm going to kind of go over my experience, how it worked for me, what I found in it. We're going to have a group discussion on what worked for them, what worked for the members, what they liked. And at the end of the week, we're going to have a survey that goes out. This survey is going to allow the members to let me know, hey, Bryan, this was awesome. Hey, Bryan, we could improve on this. I think you did great focusing on this. I'd like to see you do better on this. This is all to say that eventually I want to work out the kinks, and my timeline as of right now, if all goes well, is early 2026. I want to be able to kick this off to the public and have a format that is going to be beneficial to all those who are willing and looking to join the community.
Yeah, okay. Man, it's been my experience that people that are scattered are like everyone's scattered in their own way. And I can't imagine the number of email reminders you're going to have to send out for those meetings.
You know what? I'm going to have to send a bunch to myself first to make sure I remember to send out those email reminders. So there's a lot to it, but it's true that there'll probably be a lot of that, and I'm sure there'll be some growing pains. But man, once you get a system in place, and once you have something that you can really buy into and you really believe in, it makes it all more worthwhile. My big hope is that on days when I'm scattered, there's somebody who's going to come to me and say, hey, Bryan, I'm so looking forward to our meeting tonight that I'm going to remember, oh, that's right, I got to do X, Y, and Z. So it'll be a real communal standpoint. I don't pretend that I'm any more educated or any more well-adjusted, whatever word you want to use, than the next man or woman in the group. It's a collective, and we're all on equal footing. We're trying to do the best we can. We're trying to live the best life that we can.
Yeah, it sounds pretty awesome. And so a beta group now with a formal launch early next year, should people just get in touch with you to get on the waiting list, that kind of thing?
So yeah, I have a link tree. I was going to do my plugs at the end, I figured, but
hey, do them right now, and then we'll redo them at the end.
Oh, perfect. So listen, if we're going to do that, then I might as well start with the most shameless of plugs. Yes, there's the T-shirts. Which has the QR code on the back, I might add.
Yep.
We've got, thank you, Dr. Dave. We've got ball caps, and as of August 12th, hold on, I've got my filter on so you can't see it too well. But as of August 12th, I hold in my hand Scattered, My Journey Through ADD and Self-Discovery. So it launches on Amazon in both ebook and paperback format. This is, I would say, part memoir, part self-help, and a lot of laughter, some tears, some embarrassing growing pains. We all remember what it's like to be a teenager, whether you're a boy or a girl. We all have those awkward times, definitely. So that's all in there. But why I wrote this book is, again, I want Scattered to be something that people can reach out. They can be a part of. They're going to be a part of that movement. And this was my long-winded way to say that if they are looking to be a part of that movement, there's a mailing list you can get on. You can reach out to me personally. I'm on Facebook, Instagram. I'll give you all the information. Hopefully we can disseminate that out. But there's a link tree to join my blog that I write. I have a podcast that I'm working on, but again, with the beauty of Scattered is it's not as consistent as I need it to be. So I'm trying to get more consistent with that. I'm still working a 9 to 5 also. So trying to balance, and I've got a beautiful 11-year-old daughter who takes a lot of my time, as well as a beautiful wife who takes a lot of my time. So trying to manage those things. I really want to bring more to the podcast. I love the mental health aspect. I love I love talking about it, but I'm a football guy. I'm a pro wrestling guy. I'm a geek. I just saw Superman and Fantastic Four.
Man, I haven't seen either one of them yet.
Oh, they're good. They're good. I won't pretend they're my favorite superhero movies, but in an era where every time you turn on your television, there's a new superhero movie out, they do pretty well for themselves.
Yeah, and it's kind of funny. The book was showing up blurry because of your filter. So if anybody wants to see what the cover actually looks like, you got to hop on Amazon and check it out.
That's
And
it.
be
You
sure
got
to
it.
do that.
And I again, the link will be there, but you got to jump on Amazon. I'll tell you, I went live about a week ago to read the first chapter. So I have the proof book with me. It goes live August 12th, the book itself. But the response I got, there were so many people who reached out and just said, "Man, that was me. Man, I know exactly what that's like." So if you've ever had struggles, if you've ever had dreams and you realize that the only thing stopping you from your dreams is your own self-doubt, is your own insecurities, this is a book for you guys. I wrote this for people of all ages. This book is I was inspired by my daughter. I'll be honest. My daughter has a lot of the same ADD things and ADHD things that I had. And I see it and I see the struggle she's going through. So that was the inspiration. But as I wrote this and I shared it with a few personal friends, I kept hearing the feedback that, man, I can relate to this. Man, I know what this is like. So this book, and again, guys, like Dr. Dave said, you got to go to Amazon and check it out. Each copy is going to really help move this this movement and this community along. But the truth of it is, it's for the kid in school right now who is being pulled out of class to go to special ed class, who feels so different. It's for the guy who and gal who just graduated high school and sees their friends going to college and feels like they don't know what they want to do yet. It's for the person like myself in their mid to late 30s who's the professional that feels like maybe their dreams are starting to drift away and they're not going to get there. It's the person who's retired now, who's collecting their Social Security and says, you know what? I never got the chance to live that dream. You can still live that dream. The only thing that is stopping us, guys, is ourselves. And there's going to be challenges. There's going to be pitfalls. I have given up more times than I can count. But with every give up, with every failure that I've had, Dave, I am telling you, I have learned a lesson. And it's being able to look at those failures and grow from them and not let them define you that is going to make a world of difference. And that's a lot of what we talk about in Scattered.
Sounds great. Sounds great. I'll tell you what, just to pique our interest, can you tell us maybe one of the embarrassing stories or something, or just a great story from the book?
Sure. So I'll go with an interesting one here. When I was young, I was in fourth grade. I was pulled out of class every day. Myself and a group of other kids were pulled out of class every day to go to the special ed classes. So I had my homeroom teacher. I was in there for social studies and for math. But for English, I was pulled out every day. So there's about 5 or 6 of us that the teacher would come down. She'd stand in the doorway. We'd all have to get up and walk out of the classroom. It was a very alienating feeling. But the most alienating thing was that year, the mainstream kids read a book. Dr. Dave, I cannot tell you the name of the book. I have no idea. They were getting to act out this book. And the lead was this girl that I was completely crazy about. And she was the lead character. And she was one of the mainstream kids. So I fought and I clawed and I scratched and I begged. And, I'll read the book. I'll do this. I'll do that. I tried every negotiating tactic that a 10-year-old could think of to try to be a part of this play, because in my eyes, I was going to be Leonardo DiCaprio. I was going to be, the leading man who I was going to be Tom Cruise and sweep her off her feet with my amazing acting skills. That day never came. I wasn't allowed to participate. It was for those mainstream kids. It was, it was the story of Rudolph. I had the red nose. I couldn't join any reindeer games.
Yeah.
The play came and went. I cannot tell you anything that happened. But her character, the girl's character, asked for a bowl of Manhattan clam chowder. Since that day, it has been my favorite soup, and I will eat it anytime. I don't know what the play was about. I don't know what the book was even called. I know her character asked for clam chowder, Manhattan clam, I might add, and I was so captivated by that. So that's the way the ADD mind sometimes works. We can get hyper-focused on what might be the silliest thing in the world. But here I am 30 years later, and every time I go out to a diner, a nice diner in Jersey or Pennsylvania, if they have soup, my fingers are crossed that it's Manhattan clam chowder.
That's funny. And I love the way you characterize it, though, as a superpower, because I've got 5 kids, and one of them, we thought he had dyslexia for a while. And so we really catered to, if the diagnosis does come through, it's a superpower. You think differently than other people. And it turns out he didn't have the diagnosis, but I love the idea of characterizing differences as super, because if we were all the same, life would be so boring.
Absolutely. Absolutely. And I think it's an important mindset tool. I think a lot of the times and it's gotten a lot better, don't get me wrong, but we still live in a world where different is automatically assumed as less than in a lot of ways. And I'm not going down any kind of path of political conversation or anything of that nature, but I'm saying that the mindset of, oh, I have ADHD or I have dyslexia, automatically we're conditioned to have a negative connotation with it. And I think when we're able to realize that, hey, maybe I look at things a little bit differently, but I can use that to my advantage, I think it becomes so much more powerful. And I think the people around us then realize, hey, Bryan doesn't look at things the way I do, but that's a beautiful thing, because to your point, if we all looked at it the same, we're all seeing the same thing. It's like a mosaic. You want to you want to interpret what you can interpret, and it's your interpretation. And it's the same thing with ADHD. It's the same thing with dyslexia. People who are on the autistic spectrum, we are able to see things a little bit differently. It doesn't mean it's right. It doesn't mean it's wrong, but it helps us to get to where we need to be. And I'll tell you very honestly, if it wasn't for things like hyperfocus that the ADD has given me, and that's another thing we talk about in Scattered, on sale August 12th, starting on Amazon. More on that a little later, but cheap plug for you. But that's one of the things I talk about really is the different things that ADHD can provide that doesn't have to be looked at negatively. That hyper focus. Yes, sometimes we get in our own way because it's all we see, but it also can allow for beautiful, beautiful things to be done and interests to be really well diversified. So it's a chapter in there that is all about finding your superpower.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I love it. And thinking about it too, from the point of view of, the old days, factory jobs, all that kind of mess. In the older days, people hired people that fit in all the right places. But nowadays, you could tailor your hiring practices to hire for specific talents, like very specific talents, and the way people think. I'm thinking like, game manufacturing and coding and things like that certain people with hyper focus might be really geared to.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I think, again, the days of you have to fit this specific mold, and you work at the factory for 50 years, and they give you a watch and, a kick in the butt on your way out. Those, yep. I don't think that's the world we live in anymore. I think these superpowers, as we're calling them, and the fact that you might have your hand in 20 different cookie jars helps give you more value. And I'll give you a real life application of that. I worked in the mental health field, like I said, for doing the peer support stuff, but it was my work on the side, doing things like I had a gaming channel where I was called the Outmatched Gamer because I was not great with gaming, but I enjoyed playing it. But I learned all about camera. I learned about YouTube. I learned about editing software. Yeah. Then I did things with real estate. That's where I met John Shookman, actually. Yeah. And I learned about networking and communication and how to really present yourself. And then I did things where I actually, Dr. Dave, to be honest with you, I worked for a very short time as a professional wrestling manager. And I talk about all of this in the book, but it's true. I was the bad guy manager who stood outside the ring, cheered for my guy, tried to cheat so that my guy could win, and yelled at the crowd. But it taught me things like how to present myself, how to elicit emotion, how to captivate an audience. So I think the fact that people nowadays dip their toes into so many different avenues, it gives them such a better, diverse, and well-rounded approach that when employers do start looking for them, there's so many more avenues that they can go down now.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, man, I'm a little bit older than you, so I'm totally picturing Captain Lou Albano from the old days of wrestling.
I always fancied myself Bobby the Brain Heenan, so I used to actually, my name was the Mastermind because I couldn't use the brain. So yeah, I was a bad Bobby Heenan ripoff, but I looked like who was it? I can't remember the actor, but I looked like I was out of the island of Dr. Moreau.
Oh man, you talking about the newer one? I know who you're talking about.
Yeah,
that's awesome. I tell you what. So as we get ready to close here a little bit, I got a few questions, like rapid fire type questions.
Sure, let's do it.
Since we're both nerds, who's your favorite comic book character?
Spider-Man, probably. I was a dork. I got picked on. I would love to have Mary Jane and Felicia Hardy all fighting over me. So yeah, Spider-Man, 100%.
Yeah. All right, Spider-Man. And so if you could pick your top 3 resources, books, podcasts, people that other people should follow, just to set people up for success, what would your top 3 resources be?
Number 1, I would say, there's this new cool thing called Scattered by Bryan Fink that everybody should definitely check out. No, I think there's a few really good ones. The Path to Joy by Melissa Bloom is an amazing book where she breaks down the science behind joy. She's a biologist turned life coach, and she has a something called Joy School now. She again went through Vincent and the membership freedom, but she has a thing called Joy School. She's got this book, The Path to Joy, which again blends science and biology with real life application and emotion. And it's a great read. I would recommend definitely looking into, if you want to learn more about financial stability, because I think a lot of us with ADD sometimes struggle with that. I'm a big fan of Dave Ramsey. I don't always agree. I don't always agree with everything he says, but I think structurally he's got a really good plan, and it's an easy plan to kind of follow. It's his 7 baby steps are, again, I don't think he leaves a lot of room for wiggle, but he's definitely the structure of it is very good. And then there's a book I forget who wrote it, but it's called Go Getters Give More, or Go Givers Get More. And
Okay.
it's more for people in the sales world, but it's about the idea of meeting the customers where we're at and serving a need. I think too many people, again, are chasing that short-term payoff, and they're not getting to know their customers, and they're not being solution-based. And I think when you're in sales, being solution-based and being sincere is going to get you much further in the long run, and you're going to see a much better ROI than going for the cheap win.
Yeah. Yep. Sounds good. Sounds good. I'm going to throw these resources in the show notes and everything because I always like to pass that on. And so, final question: do you have like a life motto, anything like that? Like, if you were to throw something up on a billboard, what would your motto be?
Um, you know what?
Other than your
Again,
scattered logo.
well, I mean, I have the scattered logo, but my mantra is again going back to being a geek. It comes from Rocky Balboa, I think. There's the speech with him and his son in the sixth movie, where he says, "It ain't about how hard you hit; it's about how hard you can get hit and keep moving forward. How much you can take and keep moving forward. That's how winning is done." And I think that's true. I think the more, we're going to get turned down a million times, guys. We are going to fail. It is part of the human experience. But you could take that failure, you can wash your hands of it and say, I'm done, I can't do it, which is what I did for many, many years. Or you could start looking inside and saying, what role did I play in this failure? What role did I play in not getting the result I was looking for? And then learning how to grow from that. So Rocky Balboa is probably my greatest fictional character. He was the million to one shot. And, yo, Adrian, I'm hoping to do it.
Yeah, yeah, and a lot of people didn't like that movie, but I liked it. I thought it was a really good movie, just capturing some of the aging and everything.
Yeah, I thought it was great. I mean, I'm also weird. I like Rocky V, and I know most people hate that one. So I'm a little weird with that. But yeah, no, I thought Rocky Balboa was really good.
Yeah, yeah. All right. So before we close out, and I'm gonna put everything, including your links, in the show notes. But in case anybody forgot, what was that book again that's coming out in August?
So it is Scattered: My Journey Through ADD and Self-Discovery. It's available on Amazon. The ebook is available for pre-order right now. Paperback goes on sale on August 12th. You can also find me linktree.Brian, linktr.ee. Yep, it's right there on the shirt /Bryan Fink Scattered. I'll have my newsletter on there, links to the podcast. If you want to get in contact with me, I'd love to talk. Maybe Scattered is something you could get benefit from. Maybe it's not, but let's have a conversation. Let's learn from each other. I'm always down to talk to anyone at any time, and I would love to hear from you.
All right, sounds amazing, and thank you for being on here. And I'll probably see you again in a couple of days in Vincent's group.
Absolutely. Absolutely. I appreciate the time. I appreciate you letting me kind of share a little bit of it. And again, if anyone, if anyone wants to talk, I'm always available. I'd love to hear from you. This is a community-based thing where everyone is welcome. We're all trying to grow together. So let's stay scattered, but stay connected.
Yeah, sounds good. Sounds good. I appreciate it, man.
My pleasure. You take care.